So hit that like button, share, subscribe. A woman has lost her daughter to a violent crime. You hear her testimony during this live stream. WVTM 13 News is the source. We're going to discuss the effects of lying to the public, family, friends, and what it has done to people in the community. The effects of people who have lost children to violence, kidnappings, those who have been kidnapped and survived, the after effect of death, those who did not survive a kidnapping, and also those African American women who decide to call 911, what effects it will have on them calling about being kidnapped, hurt, harmed, any type of violence. Will they be taken seriously? And this also goes for Caucasian, Hispanic, and other races as well. Thank you for joining me. Here's the commentary.
Well, it's now been over a week since Carlee Russell returned home after vanishing for more than 2 days.
Since then, police say Russell has only given one statement to Hoover police, and investigators haven't been able to verify the information she's given.
The news of Carlee Russell's return home has garnered strong reaction from community members, especially parents who have lost their own child to violent crimes. WBTM 13 Chip Scarborough is live in Hoover tonight after speaking with one mom who was not holding back. Check.
Well, Gladys and Jarvis, Shay Pilkington Wiley's daughter, Madison Pilkington, was murdered here in Hoover 18 months ago. She calls Carlee Russell's alleged actions disrespectful to parents who have lost children to violence. She also calls those alleged actions disrespectful to parents who are still searching for their missing children.
It breaks my heart for Angela to go out there and have children relive everything.
Shay Pilkington Wiley became emotional when asked about Angela Harris's involvement in the search for Carlee Russell. Harris's daughter, Anaya Blanchard, was kidnapped and killed in the fall of 2019. Pilkington Wiley experienced a similar tragedy in January of last year when her daughter, Madison Pilkington, was found beaten to death in her Hoover apartment.
I was calling, I was texting, those unanswered messages, all those kind of things that you initially start doing, and I'm sure her parents were doing.
In a lengthy Facebook post, Shay Pilkington Wiley wrote, quote, Carlee Russell disrespected every parent that has lost a child. She disrespected every one of our children. The child you couldn't get in touch with that horrific evening. The unanswered calls that kept going to voicemail.
Her actions with her being safe the entire event is disrespectful to all of the boys and the girls and the adults, children that have gone missing, that didn't make it home. They're still gone. Or maybe came home, but they didn't come home alive.
Shay Pilkington Wiley says an apology from Carlee Russell to those who searched for her and to those who have lost children would be helpful in trying to move forward.
She needs to admit to what she did.
And despite feeling the way she does, Shay Pilkington Wiley says she is glad Carlee Russell is home with her family, but she says those alleged actions sure brought up some painful memories for her and other parents. Live in Hoover tonight, Chip Scarborough, WBTM 13.
Chip, thanks. Wiley has since started a nonprofit in honor of her daughter Madison. It aims to help those who find themselves victims of domestic violence. To learn more, visit their website on your screen at madisonsaves.org.
All right, everybody. That's the same commentary. WVTM 13 News is the source. She needs to admit to what she did, says this Hoover mother of a deceased child who was brutally beaten, found deceased in her apartment. She needs to admit to what she has done. She also needs to apologize to the Hoover Police Department and whomever she spun the web to, be it her parents, friends, boyfriend, whomever. But you see, that would defeat the purpose in apologizing and owning up to what she did. Think about that for just a second. Why would a person want to admit they lied, number one, and then also apologize? That defeats the purpose. And the fact that she was blasphemous in her post to social media right before enacting this crime shows she has no regard for God. She has no regard for self. This was all orchestrated. Be it 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, it doesn't matter. It was orchestrated. It's very obvious that it was orchestrated by Carlee Russell. And whatever the motive was, or that's on her. As far as her being alive, I want to say this for the last time. When people say, I'm just glad she's alive, well, that's the whole point of the story. She was never gone, never deceased. Listen carefully. She was never gone. She was never in harm. She was never kidnapped. She was never held hostage. She's alive and well. This is an orchestrated plan to get attention for whatever reason. So to say, I'm glad she's alive, well, she was never missing. That's the point. And many people are saying that. I'm just glad she's alive. But that's the point of the story. She was never missing. I'm glad you're alive, but you were never in harm's way. I'm glad you're alive, but thanks for lying to the public and the police and wasting their resources. As someone said in commentary the other day, you waste the resources of somebody who's actually missing. And I had to think about that for just a second. Imagine the people who are actually missing from Alabama, and those agents went out looking for this fool, and they had to put aside somebody else's missing persons case. Did that ever occur to anybody in the chat? Because I never thought about that myself. Somebody, plural, put aside another missing persons case to chase a fool. A damn clown. I have no remorse. I have no empathy for her. And I don't want to hear anything about Bible scriptures and what the Bible says and what God said. We're supposed to forgive man and all of that. She's not my child. She's not my friend. I don't care. And yes, I'm flawed. And so is everybody breathing. But there's just certain things you just don't do. And this is one of those things. No grown person has any reason to go out here and make up such a farce to involve law enforcement and agencies, worry people to death, wondering if you're dead or alive. I don't even think this stupid wench understands the gravity of what she has done. And we're going to discuss that during this live stream. The effects of lying to the public, the effects on people who will call 911 needing aid from law enforcement, such as African-American females who are in trouble, who have been kidnapped. Will someone take the call seriously? Will there be a full throttle effort put into finding she? Those who have lost their children to violent deaths, kidnappings, those who have survived kidnappings and the trauma thereafter. Carlee Russell has thought of none of those people because she doesn't care. She doesn't give two F's about you, her family, the boyfriend, the police, the workers, officials. She doesn't care. Because in order to care, you have to have some feelings inside. And we're also going to discuss compulsive lying, pathological lying. Is she a pathological liar, compulsive liar? Has she been lying most of her life? Because as I've said before, do not wake up at 25 lying and making up such wild stories. You've been lying before. You've possibly been caught in your lies. She's lied before. You can believe that. The boyfriend now, who was taking down posts that he put up on social media of her missing and how hard she fought for 2 days, now is on social media again, speaking about people bullying his girlfriend. So are they still together? Do they talk? Has she told him the full story and the truth? Has she decided to tell him the truth after the press conference has been revealed of no child being found on the highway and no suspects as abductors and her storyline? People magazine is the source. Carlee Russell's boyfriend asked people to stop bullying her amid abduction claims. Carlee Russell's boyfriend is pleading with people to not bully her amid speculation about her abduction claims. Though Marlon Latrell Simmons is dating Russell, who mysteriously vanished for 49 hours last week and spoke with the New York Post on Saturday about suspicions tied to her disappearance. The Alabama woman went missing July 13th after she called 911 to report seeing a toddler walking barefoot home. It's supposed to be 4:59. They say 4:95. It's the only thing I can say is I want everyone to stop bullying her. I know what it seems like what she did. Just stop bullying on social media, Simmons told the outlet. Think about her mental health. She doesn't deserve that. Yeah, and she doesn't. Nobody deserves to be cyber bullied. Earlier this month, Russell 25 called 911 saying she saw a toddler walking alongside 4:59. On her way home from work, she told the dispatcher she was going to check on the child. Then she called her brother's girlfriend before suddenly vanishing. 2 nights later, after a statewide search that involved local, state, and federal investigators, Russell reappeared at the doorstep of her parents' house where she lives. As well as being unable to confirm details from her initial 911 call, investigators said Russell has declined to speak with them further. There are many questions left to be answered. Only Carlee can provide those answers. Subsequently, investigators began tracing Russell's steps through phone data. Investigators also began looking into Russell's internet activity, discovering a handful of searches Durst said are very relevant to her disappearance. On the day of and in the days leading up to her disappearance, Russell researched Amber Alerts and how to steal money from a cash register, as well as looking into purchasing a one-way bus ticket scheduled to depart the day she went missing in a movie Taken, which is about a kidnapping, police allege. I do think it's highly unusual that the day someone gets kidnapped 7 or 8 hours before, that they were searching the movie Taken about an abduction, Durst said. I find that very strange. Cell phone data also showed Russell traveled about 600 yards while on the phone with 911, telling the dispatcher that she was following the toddler she claimed she saw as he walked along the highway. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, Durst said. To think that a toddler barefoot that could be 3 or 4 years old traveled 6 football fields without getting in the roadway, without crying, without anything, just moving down, it's very hard for me to understand, quote unquote. As well as speaking out this weekend in a since deleted July 16 post on Instagram, Simmons, who is the boyfriend, celebrated his girlfriend's arrival home. I don't even know how to start off this post, but to only say thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for saving my girlfriend's life. Simmons began his post, which included a series of pictures and clips of him and Russell together. He then thanked everyone who had helped search for his girlfriend and shared photos on social media, adding, I have been going non-stop since I received the call that she was missing on Thursday night. I know she would have done the same for me, so I wasn't going to give up until I saw her again. I was straight tunnel vision, even when I would get on social media on my downtime, I see some of the false allegations and assumptions about me having something to do with her abduction would have me discouraged at times, but I didn't give up and kept my faith, Simmons said. He went on to ask people to be respectful of Carlee's situation, saying she was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours, so until she's physically and mentally stable again, she's not able to give any updates or whereabouts on her kidnapper at this very moment. I also want to thank the people on social media who have been understanding and respectful about what she's been through in these past few days. Once again, I can't thank you guys enough for helping us bring Carlee home. God bless you all. And then it's a heart, praying hands, hashtag Carlee found, hashtag Carlee Russell. Simmons concluded that post. People magazine is the source. So, in the beginning, he was posting how he was thankful that she was found, that she would do the same for him in searching. He never gave up, blah, blah, blah. Then eventually he took the post down. Now he's back on social media telling people not to bully his girlfriend. So I'm assuming that they are actually a couple still. You see, when people do wrong, it does not mean that people will stop supporting them, stop loving them. If he actually loves her, one could say he's still supporting her, even though he sees the signs that she has been lying. Now, I do not know if she has admitted to him that she has lied. Why she lied, I do not know. Will they stay together? I do not know. I don't see anyone staying with a pathological liar. Because as I told you, the liar is worse than the thief. Some may disagree with me, you're entitled to your opinion. Because you see, a liar can lie for years. And nobody knows that they've been lying. People lie about finances, affairs, having other children, being involved in illegal activity, and nobody knows what they've been doing until they're caught and it gets out. Such as this situation here. The cat is out of the bag. Police are bringing you information that contradict what she has said in a 911 call, and you have to sit and decide if you want to believe her version or what the police has gathered. It's your choice. Has she hired an attorney? I do not know. Speculations about her schooling, her having a degree in nursing and or psychology. As I was listening to Mr. Eaglemel's channel, that's why you have to pay attention to the information. You can go to school for one thing and get a bachelor's, and you can get a master's in something else, for those who have never been to secondary schooling. So you can major in psychology and get a BS, a Bachelor of Science, or Bachelor of Arts in a degree. And then when you go to the master's program, you can get a master's in something else. Naturally, all this can be verified to the schools where she went if you're curious to where she went to school and if she actually got a degree. I'm not here to argue about where the hell she went to school or what she has a degree in, because in the end, she's a liar. And I'm telling you, you don't wake up at 25 lying. So is she a compulsive liar, pathological, whichever one comes first? Will we find out that she's lied about other things? And what you have to ask yourself, if a person will lie about petty things, such as where they went today, what they did yesterday, what they're doing right now, they will possibly lie about bigger things, such as, I was kidnapped. Did you hear what I said? If you lie about petty things, you have a propensity to lie about petty things. You will eventually lie about bigger things, such as being kidnapped, seeing a child on the highway, roaming in a diaper and t-shirt. Is this woman a pathological liar, compulsive liar? Let's talk about that for just a second. Who is Carlee Russell? Has she been known to lie beforehand? Has she been caught in lies and people, friends gave her a pass? In her own post, she questioned if she was cut out for nursing program. Maybe she's not cut out for the nursing program, because you see, nursing has mathematical equations in the schooling. Majoring in psychology is not the same as majoring in nursing. I think most of you know this. Nursing will be more detailed because you have to know more things about the body, blood count, measuring. You're going to have to know those things. You didn't have to know those things possibly in studying psychology. So they won't. Maybe the program wasn't for her. Maybe she could not grasp the program. And I'm still kind of confused how you can get a master's in nursing and not have gone to nursing school. Still, I would think you would need at least 4 years of nursing school in order to get a master's in nursing. That's just my opinion. Not to say that you couldn't, but I'm just saying, seems like the first 4 years will be formative in wanting to get a master's in nursing. Let's talk about lying in children. Was she a liar as a child? Children are known to lie, and I'm going to bring you the reasons why children would lie as a child and the ages that lying starts. This is a comprehensive live pertaining to this case and the motive of why she would lie and the ramifications of lying. As you heard this mother speak, Miss Angela Harris went out there and lost a child, Anaya Blanchard, to a violent kidnapping and murder, discarded like trash. We've also heard her father speak of that. His child was just thrown off on the highway like trash. And yes, he spoke his opinion, and I agree with everything he said, Anaya Blanchard's father. That it was disrespectful for her to come up with this farce, and no respect for people who have actually been kidnapped and killed. Those who've been kidnapped and survived. Those who've lost children to violent deaths, lured somewhere by a stranger or somebody that knew them, set up, killed, and nobody knew where they were. Discarded, hour away, 2 hours away, another town. Carlee Russell knows nothing about that. And I hope for her sake she never comes into contact with somebody who decides to hurt her, harm her. Because then she will actually get to live out that fantasy of being kidnapped, harmed. And this time they will tie her up, bondage her. And the first thing that will come to her mind, I guess I should have never cried wolf that somebody had done this to me or took me somewhere. So you have to be very careful of things that you claim in life, because you may end up experiencing those things. And for her sake, she better hope that she never, ever is in a position as a kidnapped victim and tortured and then murdered. One second. Thank you for joining me. RaisingChildren.net.au is the source. Source number 2 via article. This content is suitable for the ages of 3 to 10 years of age. Lies. Why children lie and what to do. Was she a liar as a child? I'm bringing you this content to show that possibly there's a pattern of this female lying as a child and how lying as a child relates to being a liar as an adult. Thank you for joining me. Children might start telling lies from the age of 3. Encourage children to tell the truth by emphasizing the importance of honesty. Use separate consequences for lies and the behavior that leads to lies. Why do children lie? Cover up something so they don't get into trouble. See how you'll respond. Make a story more exciting. Experiment, for example, by pretending something that happened in a story was real. Get attention or make themselves sound better. Get something they want. For example, Mom lets me follow lollies before dinner. This is English, so this is possible candy. Avoid hurting someone's feelings. This sort of lie is often called a white lie. When do children start lying? Children can learn to tell lies from early age, usually around 3. This is when children start to realize you aren't a mind reader, so they can say things that aren't true without you always knowing. Children lie more at the ages of 4 to 6. They might get better at telling lies by matching their facial expressions and the tone of their voices to what they're saying. If you ask children to explain what they're saying, they'll usually own up. As children grow older, they can lie more successfully without getting caught. The lies also get more complicated because children have more words and are better at understanding how other people think. By adolescence, children regularly tell white lies to avoid hurting other people's feelings. Encouraging children to tell the truth. Once children are old enough to understand the difference between true and not true, it's good to encourage and support them in telling the truth. You can do this by emphasizing the importance of honesty in your family and help children understand what can happen if they lie. Tips. Have conversations about lying and telling the truth with your children. For example, how would Mom feel if Dad lied to her, or what happens when you lie to a teacher? Help your child avoid situations where they feel the need to lie. For example, if you ask your child if they spilled the milk, your child might feel tempted to lie. To avoid the situation, you can just say, I see there's been an accident with the milk. Let's clean it up. Praise your child for owning up to doing something wrong. For example, I'm so glad you told me what happened. Let's work together to sort things out. Be a role model for telling the truth. For example, I made a mistake in a report I wrote for work today. I told my boss so we could fix it. Use a joke to encourage your child to own up to a lie. For example, your preschooler might say, my teddy bear broke it. You can say something like, I wonder why Teddy did that. Keep the joke going until your child owns up. Tall tales. How to handle them. Pretending and imagining are important to your child's development, and it's good to encourage this kind of play. Tall tales don't need to be treated as lies, especially for children under 4. If your child is making up a story about something, you can respond by saying something like, "That's a great story. We can make it into a book." This encourages your child's imagination without encouraging lying. Deliberate lies and lying, how to handle them. If your child tells a deliberate lie, the first step is to let your child know that lying isn't okay. Your child also needs to know why. You might like to make a family rule about lying. The next step is to use appropriate consequences. And when you use consequences, try to deal separately with the lying and the behavior that led to it. For example, if your child drew on the walls and then lied about it, you might have a consequence for each of these things. But if your child is lying to cover up a mistake like spilling a drink, you might just decide to use a consequence for the lying and then clean up the mess together. Ideas for handling deliberate lying. Talk calmly with your child about how lying makes you feel, how it affects your relationships with your child, and what it might be like if family and friends stop trusting your child. This emphasizes the difference between what happens if your child is honest and what happens if they are dishonest. Always tell your child when you know that they aren't telling the truth, but try to avoid continuously asking your child if they're telling the truth. Also avoid calling your child a liar. If your child believes they're a liar, they might as well keep lying. You could say something like, "You're usually very honest with me, but I just can't understand what happened to the last cupcake." Make it easier for your child not to lie. You can start by thinking about why your child might be telling lies. For example, if your child is lying to get things they want, consider a reward system that lets your child earn the things instead. Lying about serious issues. Here's what to do if you suspect your child is lying to protect someone else. Reassure your child that they'll be safe if they tell the truth. Let your child know you'll do everything you can to make things better. Some children might lie frequently as part of a larger pattern of more serious, negative, or even illegal behavior like stealing, lighting fires, or hurting animals. If you have concerns about your child's behavior, safety, or well-being, think about getting professional help. Talk to your GP or school counselor for advice on who to contact. Raisingchildren.net.au is the source. This is the Australian parenting website. So these were tools in helping you relate to your child if you indeed have a child that tells tall tales, lies. As they said, it's normal for children to lie. They start at about the age of 3. As they get older, 6, they become more successful in the lying. But the gist of this commentary is to teach your children not to lie and the ramifications of lying, and to always be truthful, and to know that your child can come to you with any type of problem or situation, and they don't have to lie to cover up for themselves or for anyone else. And I agree with all those statements. Thank you for joining. Source number 3. NewportInstitute.com is the source. If you'd like to donate to this network, $McAngie, 129 Cash App, Stickers and Chats are welcome during this live stream. Thank you for your time. Personality disorders and pathological lying. Pathological lying or lying compulsively can also be a symptom of antisocial personality disorder or narcissistic personality disorder. People with these personality disorders may lie to gain sympathy or social status or to preserve a false sense of self. Pathological liar signs can also be symptoms of borderline personality disorder, BPD. With BPD, lying is often a way to avoid rejection or abandonment. Lies associated with Munchausen syndrome. People with the mental health disorder known as Munchausen syndrome by proxy may lie frequently. This type of pathological lying is for a specific purpose connected with their disorder. Munchausen syndrome, people lie about being sick themselves or about someone they care for, such as a child or a patient being sick. Childhood trauma as a cause of pathological lying. In some cases, pathological lying can be a result of childhood trauma, such as neglect or abuse. People who did not get their needs met as children may begin lying as a coping mechanism in an attempt to get love and reassurance they crave, or they may internalize the message early on that they are not good enough as they are. So they lie to hide what they see as unforgivable personal flaws to make them unworthy of others' love. The do's and don'ts of how to deal with a pathological liar. If you know someone who repeatedly lies, here are a few approaches for coping with this problematic behavior. Don't expect them to admit to a lie. Even if you can prove they're lying, pathological liars will stick to their story even when it's obvious to everyone else that they are lying. Don't take it personally. Remember, the behavior isn't about you. A pathological liar is unable to control their lying due to the underlying mental health disorder. Don't consider eye contact as a sign someone is telling the truth. Pathological liars may believe what they're saying or be so used to lying that they can easily maintain eye contact while telling an untruth. Don't lose your temper. Attaching the person will only cause it to become more defensive and even trigger more lying behavior. Do trust yourself and your reality and check in with others to confirm your truth if you need to. Do pay attention to the person's actions and get a picture of who they are. Rather than listening to their words, their body language can also reveal the truth more than what they say. Do set boundaries around what you are willing to tolerate in the relationship. You may need to step back from the relationship entirely if the lying continues and the person is not willing to try to change. Do encourage them to try therapy in order to learn more about themselves and why they feel driven to lie. Consider therapy for yourself as well to learn how to see healthy boundaries and stay grounded in your own truth. Treatment for the root causes of pathological lying. To truly change pathological lying behavior, it's essential to address the underlying mental health issues catalyzing the lies. Through therapy, people can become more aware of their lying patterns and the reasons they lie. Therapy can help them build the motivation to change and practice new, healthier ways of communicating their needs and emotions. At Newport Institute, we guide young adults to uncover childhood trauma that may be impacting their behavior. Young people learn to replace unhealthy coping mechanisms like lying, substance abuse, and self-harm with new skills of self-regulation and self-expression. Within a supportive environment that values honesty and openness, our clients build to authentic connections with themselves, with peers, and mentors. Are you or a loved one struggling with self-destructive behaviors? Are you a parent or partner of someone who is displaying pathological liar signs? Contact us today to find out about our specialized model of care and how we help emerging adults get started on the path to long-term sustainable healing. Newport Institute is the source of this information. Here are some of the takeaways. Being a pathological liar is not a mental health diagnosis. However, the word pathological indicates that there's an underlying pathology or illness catalyzing the lying behavior. Pathological lying is defined by some experts as lying 5 or more times daily, every day for longer than 6 months. There are different types of lying with symptoms that are similar to pathological liar signs, including habitual lying, white lying, and compulsive lying. Individuals who did not get their needs met as children may begin lying as a coping mechanism in an attempt to get the love and reassurance they crave. Through therapy, people can become more aware of their lying patterns and reasons they lie. In addition, treatment can help them address underlying mental health disorders and childhood traumas. How can you tell if someone is a pathological liar? 5 pathological liar signs are making up dramatic and fantastical stories, constantly changing their story or being vague with question, telling lies even when there's no reason to, passing off a story someone else told as their own, and getting defensive when confronted about a lie. What are the 5 signs of someone lying? In general, feeling overwhelmed indicates that a person's resources or resilience are not equal to the stressors they are experiencing. Lifetime change, self-care, exercises, and support from a mental health professional can help build resilience and give you more tools for dealing with overwhelm. What mental illness causes pathological lying? Pathological liar signs and symptoms of obsessive compulsive disorder, antisocial personality, borderline personality, narcissistic personality disorder, and Munchausen syndrome by proxy. What is the difference between a compulsive liar and a pathological liar? One difference is that compulsive liars have no particular reason for their lying, while pathological lying is less random. So I assume that means pathological means there's a purpose for the lying, such as schemers, scammers. They have a reason. They need something from you. They're trying to get something from you. What drives a pathological liar? Overwhelm is not a form of anxiety, but frequent feelings of overwhelm can be a symptom of anxiety. Underlying mental health issues such as personality disorders, other mental disorders, and childhood trauma can catalyze pathological lying. They use lying as a guided way to get social status, acceptance, or sympathy they crave. Once again, Newport Institute is the source. So with Carlee Russell, are we talking about a compulsive liar who just lies randomly for no reason, or pathological, which is less random? And as they say, childhood trauma, mental disorders can catalyze pathological lying, used as a guided way to get social status, acceptance, or sympathy they crave. Are we talking about a young lady who was mistreated as a child, neglected as a child? So she made up things to soothe her own self, ego, insecurities. Because I told you before, you do not wake up at 25 telling this type of lie. No way. You've been doing this. And perhaps she is a pathological liar. She craves a social status, attention, wants sympathy. And don't you find it interesting that the person she called to spin this web was to the boyfriend's sister? Stay woke. Because you only hear that she called 911, dispatch, and a family, friend, relative, or whomever. So let's ask those questions. How many people did she call on that fateful night about this ruse? Because if she only called the boyfriend's sister, I think we can use deduction why she chose that person. Because she knew that person would go run and tell the boyfriend. That's his sister. Why not? But then you're going to ask the ultimate question. Stay woke, everybody. Please pay close attention. Why, Carlee, did you not call your boyfriend? As someone would say, the damsel in distress. Maybe they're onto something. I'll call the sister because she's his sister. They're close. She's gonna call him. Hey, have you heard from Carlee? Oh my goodness, she sees a child out walking and she's trying to help the child. She's talking to the child. The child isn't responding. Blah, blah, blah. Phone goes dead. How convenient. But why not call the boyfriend? Has anyone not wondered why she didn't call her boyfriend? Why she didn't call her mother? Ding, ding, ding. Any siblings? Does she have any siblings? Why call the boyfriend's sister? I think we know why. Many of you are assuming this ruse is about the boyfriend. That perhaps they were having trouble. She wasn't getting what she needed and wanted from the boyfriend. So this was her way of getting his attention. I'm not here to say he is the motive, but it would make a little bit of sense with her calling his sister. Because you have to ask yourself, does she not have any friends, besties? Is she close to her mother? You close to your mother, why not call your mother? You close to your girlfriend, Why not call you girlfriend? Is she or was she really close to the sister? We ask those questions because we don't know Carlee, and what we do know of her, she likes to lie. Call it spade a spade. What was the motive for this ruse? Will there be ramifications from the district attorney? Will she have to pay the piper costs, fines, fees, search costs, jail time, prison time? Miss Papini is in jail now for lying. Some of you say, no, don't throw her in jail. Why not? You wasted valuable resources from local agencies. And with the Papini case, California has a victims fund. They gave her family money, $30,000, $40,000, in order to pay it back. Husband took the money, paid credit card bills. I'm not really here to judge what he did with the money because in the end, when people give you money, you're entitled to do with it whatever you want. But people will judge everybody in the story because that's just what people do. Doesn't mean it's right. The boyfriend worried about her being bullied. Well, I don't feel like I'm bullying her. I'm just bringing forward the information and saying what she did was jacked up and she needs to stand account for what she did. To me, that's not bullying. It's a news story. And she made it a news story when she decided to call 911, sir. Or maybe you forgot that part. Nobody went and found her. Nobody went and looked her up and just decided to talk about her on social media. She put herself out there because she wanted attention. And this is what she got. Now, she may not have assumed it would go this far as it being a national story and people talking about it every day on crime shows, court TV, Law and Crime, YouTube videos. But that is what people do on social media. They discuss breaking news. And for the first time, a black woman's story made the national news with being missing, besides of Nia Blanchard and a few others. Carlee did this. No one chose her to bully her. We didn't know her from a can of paint. We didn't know her, her family, boyfriend, sister, none of these people. She put herself out there because obviously there was a reason for this. Whether she thought it was going to go this far and be this in depth, she probably didn't plan for that. Or who's to say she hoped it would go far? National news, national attention, GoFundMes, search parties. And did you see that girl crying on the news in this video I played earlier? Please go back to the beginning of this live stream. You see someone holding another black girl who's crying. Now imagine getting the information from law enforcement and then you go back and look at that video and see yourself on a news program being filmed crying. All those emotions you felt about Carlee Russell were misguided because she lied, but you didn't know that at the time. Friends, people in the community. Oh, she's missing. Let's go let's try to find her. You know, Alabama is a very hot state for those who didn't know that. So imagine being out there in 100-degree heat, walking around trying to find a person that's actually not missing. They're actually alive somewhere, holed up, watching the fireworks. You're sitting here sweating, don't know what the hell you're looking for, don't know what you're going to find. God forbid you were to find a human body discarded. Imagine that. And then imagine later you hear she's returned, not severely wounded. Law enforcement investigating, and they give a press conference saying, we have found nothing to be truthful from her statements. How's a person supposed to feel, sir? Since you say people shouldn't be bullying her. And as for your sister, she's not too bright either. I understand she was angry when this information got out by law enforcement, but talking about wanting to do stuff to her, elbow her to the headbutt, all that stupid stuff, I wouldn't have said that publicly on a social media page. I may have said that to myself or to somebody else. But you don't say that in a social media post because God forbid something happens to this dodo bird when she decides to go outside that house. you'll be one of the people they're looking at thinking you did something to her. And I won't doubt that somebody will probably try to do something to her because that's the type of world that we're in. And that's what you all need to understand about this story. There are other Carlee Russells walking around out here. They are just as pathological as she is. May not be spinning a story of being kidnapped and a toddler on the interstate, but they are sinister as well. And that's what her mother and family needs to understand. When you question people bullying her, when you question why we don't believe the story, there are other people walking around who are also liars and manipulators and schemers and scammers and grifters. And that's the point of lying. I've got to get your attention because I'm trying to get something from you. I got to hold your attention, so I got to make the lie seem real. But that's what she tried to do. But what she forgot about is the blueprint. She left her blueprint, CCTV footage. You're seeing coming and going, whether you realize it or not. You went in stores, you left the business, you left your job, you went to a restaurant, you went to Target. That's all she wrote. And I still believe she had help. And the boyfriend may or may not have helped. He denies helping. The sister was upset about that. What people were saying about him on social media. She had to calm down and realize it's not about them, it's about her. This was Carlee's decision to do this, make up these lies, which are all true. But people are going to think she had help because that's the first thing people are going to say. Well, where was she for the 2 days? She was somewhere. And as I said, she grabbed a back road. You want me to believe she slept in a robe outside, on a park bench, a doorway? She doesn't strike me as that type of chick. Took the bathrobe just to take it because that's all she could take besides the money. If indeed she stole the money, possibly so. See, we don't know because we don't know her. But what we're seeing is not good. And you can chop it up 1,000 ways. The why, it won't matter. Why she took the money, why she took the toilet paper, why she took the robe, it's really irrelevant. The point is she planned this out. And when you're planning to do things, especially when it's wrong, one thing begets another. And that's what happened here with Carlee Russell. Planned this farce, need attention from whomever, money in the register, free for the taking, take a robe, take a pencil, whatever, because I can. Go hide out, hotel, wherever, sit long enough, get the conversation started, and then poof, reappear barefoot. Voila, magic. I don't want to talk about it. She doesn't want to talk because she'd have to tell the truth. And that's something she doesn't know how to do. Will she hire an attorney? Has she hired an attorney? I would say she does need one. Rumor on another network says they can't afford it. But as I told myself, just because you see a fancy house and a nice car doesn't mean a person has money to pay an attorney because you have to pay an attorney hourly. And he or she wants their damn money. And you don't know how long this farce is going to go on because that depends on the client. And if the client really doesn't want to cooperate, mommy and daddy will be paying a lot of money to an attorney to try to make it go away. But it shouldn't go away because this is what she wanted. Her crowning moment, to be seen, to be validated, to be deemed important. So if she wanted 5 minutes of fame, 5 minutes of attention from a boyfriend, family, whomever, she most definitely got it. And I don't ever see her relationship working with the boyfriend because if he is the reason, then there'll be another problem down the road eventually. Stay woke. They are in their 20s. They are young. They have a whole life to live. They haven't even begun to live. Face obstacles, woes, happiness. And if you are dating a liar, you already got a problem. It won't work. Because one, she'll have to acknowledge that she has a problem and seek help for the lie. And I believe she's lied before. You don't wake up at 25 making up such a horrendous story. And yes, she's disrespectful to those who have survived trauma, those who have been murdered, killed from kidnappings and other violent deaths, disrespectful to those who are mourning their loved ones, such as Miss Harris and her ex-husband, Naya's father, this young lady here who's speaking about her daughter who was murdered 18 months ago in Hoover. It's very disrespectful to those people. Because those are two women who no longer have their children here. Carlee, are you listening? All this bullshit you pulled was for nothing. You've gained nothing. And maybe negative attention doesn't matter to you, because there are people out here who are foolish. They enjoy the negative attention. They feel like, well, they talking about me, it don't matter. I'm important regardless. Well, you're not important. Only in the eyes of God you're important. But to others, you're not important because you've just told the world you don't care anything about yourself. And if you don't care about yourself, you can't care about me. And the fact that you had the nerve to talk about wanting to work with children, you have experience in working with children, helping children, you don't need to be around nobody's child. Because you are pathological, I believe that. And you're not to be trusted. Because one, you got to eventually own your shit, apologize, and then get some help for your problems that led you down this road. And until then, you are not safe around anybody. Child, woman, or man. Relationships, hell no. Babysitting, hell no. Teaching children, hell no. Any type of relationship, courtship, hell no. Because people are not going to know who they're speaking with. And that's going to be a problem. I'm going to tell you a tale briefly, and then I'm going to check out of here. When I was in high school, my senior year, I met a Caucasian male, and I've spun this web before, to those who follow my content. I went to school with a white boy who always had a tale to tell. He portrayed himself as wealthy. He always wanted to be known, seen. And I started to realize he was a liar, pathological liar, early on in his conversations, such as he'd pick me up after school, we go riding around in his car, and he would take me to some very swanky neighborhoods with very nice homes. One house he took me was next to Jake Butcher's house, which many people here in Tennessee know of Jake Butcher's house, which sits off of Melton Hill Lake. He took me to this fancy house, and it was gated. He goes up to the gate, pushes the button, acting as if he's calling to be let in. He starts saying he can't get in, he's talking to the maid, blah, blah, blah. I already knew he was lying, but I let him role play because that's what you do with a fool. Next time we're riding around, he takes me to another house, tells me that's his house. Do you see where I'm going with this story? When you lie continuously, you forget the last lie. Now, in his sick mind, he has forgotten that he's taken me to the house next door to Jake Butcher's house. And Jake Butcher was a banker that was involved in some fraud, for those who are wondering who I'm talking about. But nonetheless, day one, you take me to this big house on the lake. Next time we go riding, you take me to this other house and say, that's your house. But you forgot you took me to the other house. So I don't say anything. He goes on spring break, comes back with a Fabergé jade egg. What does he tell the queen? This is what I got for you in Paris. Goes on and on about the trip to Paris, blah, 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 blah. I know damn well he ain't with no photograph. Years down, we are adults now. He invites me over to his house. I get to see the real house he lived in. There's nothing wrong with the house. It was a rancher with a basement, decent. His mother had an okay job at the hospital, blah, blah, blah. You know, I heard she was a stern type person. I don't think she cared for black people that much. So perhaps he was taught some jacked up things growing up. But the one thing I learned about him is that he didn't like who he was. He didn't like his life. Because he always wanted to be something that he wasn't, which was a wealthy person. Somewhere in his mind, wealth equated importance, validity, status. He used to say that his father owned a private plane. Don't know if that's true or not. I think he showed me a picture of a man standing outside of an airplane. Do not know if that was actually his father or his father with a plane. Who's to say, because he lied so much. But the point is, when we were adults, I ended up going over to this house that he said was his aunt's. We went down into the basement. I slept in my own little private room. He kept me up the whole night. Rushed me out of the house that morning because he was worried about his brother coming home from some type of sporting event and that he would see me there. That's when I knew this was his house, because I thought, why would the brother be coming here if this is your aunt's house? If you all have your own house and live with your mother, why would the brother be coming to this house? Well, you know, he gave some fake story. The point I'm trying to make is, all alone, he lives in a regular house in the community. It wasn't a bad looking house. It was a decent home, a home that most people would be glad to have, but he was not proud of it. He was not content with it. So he made up these elaborate stories in high school because he was unhappy with who he was. I do not know what he's doing today. I think I passed him one day a few years ago in a Target in Turkey Creek, and I walked right by him. I never said anything once I realized who he was, because my inner being was saying, don't go back into the lion's den with that person, because 9 times out of 10, he's probably still the same. Because I think he was still living a lie. And that's, to me, a bad sign. And as you see with this female, she's 25, she'll possibly still be lying 4 or 5 years from now, because that's a hard trait to stop. The gist of the story is, you can't trust a liar. It's not saying that they can't get help. They can't own that they are a liar. The trust is going to be the problem. Trusting what they're saying, having faith in what they're saying, that they're not going to lie to you or deceive you. And sadly, liars become worse people, if you know what I mean. They become cheaters, frauders, defrauders, scammers, and also murderers. Because you usually can't have one without the other. And when you have seen people who have murdered people, such as serial killers, and I'm not saying that she will become one, but I'm just speaking of people who murder, they have been all of those things. They have been defrauders, they have been scammers, and most definitely they were liars. And that's why I said in my last commentary, you have to tread very lightly in dealing with a pathological liar. Compulsive liar, which is a weapon. Because you don't know how far the person is going to go to hold the lie. And when you are used to lying, that's all you know. It's a security blanket. You need it. You can't live without it. And when you deal with people who lie, you can find yourself in a world of trouble. Because they will lie on you. Did that ever occur to any of you in the chat? If you would lie about a child walking down the highway and lie that you were kidnapped, you would lie on me. You would lie on your mother, your brother, sister, friend, boyfriend, sister. Did that ever occur to these people? I got to save myself, and I'm willing to take you down, and I'm also willing to throw your ass under the bus. It's called self-preservation. And what have I always told you during my live streams? That self-preservation is number one. It's either me or you. It cannot be both. And a liar cares for no one. And we've learned the story about the little boy who cried wolf. Eventually, when trouble came, the wolf, there was nobody to save him. And if this little girl doesn't get it together, that is the fate that she is going to find herself in one day. Will law enforcement bring forward charges against Carlee Russell? Will she hire an attorney if she is not already? Will she reveal the truth to the public, law enforcement, family, that she lied, stand account, and also apologize? Will will she change? She can change only if she wants to. It's a personal choice. I do not have any empathy for her. I will not. Because to me, it was a crime that was unwarranted. There was no need to bring forward a farce. Because while she was out there playing these games, she could have gotten herself kidnapped for real. Did that ever occur to anybody? Because you don't know where she was, you don't know who she talked to, you don't know who aided her and who she came in contact with. And see, those things can happen to you while you're out there lying and scheming and scattering. You get your ass jacked up for real. And what started off as a story that didn't seem right, a lie, her ass could have been missing for real. I don't condone anybody stalking, bothering people, bullying people on social media or anywhere else. So if you are harassing the mother, the parents, her, the house, don't do that. Because then you are no different than Carlee Russell. As for a YouTuber who's been down there meddling, you know who you are. What clues are you trying to find? The cat's already out of the bag. We already know she lied. Where she went, it may come out, it may not. But as far as meddling with the neighbors and getting the neighbors to talk about clues, what clues could you all possibly be looking for? What clues to what? Where she was, the path she took. You see, you all need to be very careful in getting involved with people who like to meddle in shit that don't concern them. And this is what happens when innocent people let YouTubers and people come over the threshold. Be very careful. Because this person doesn't care no more about Carlee Russell than the Gabby Petito story, Summer Wells, or anybody else. He knows what I'm talking about. To me, you're another Carlee Russell. You do things for fluff, for attention. You're just a white version of her. Yeah, I said that. Most of those people don't know her from a can of paint, and they don't know where she was and what she did. Now, you want to get their opinion on the situation? Nothing wrong with asking a neighbor, how do you feel about this? But all that other meddling and rambling, you're going to get those folks caught up in some drama they can't get out of. And if these people know anything about YouTube, they need to go do their homework before getting involved with a janky-ass YouTuber. This is a serious situation. This is no different than a case of a real child, a person missing. You have to know when to fold and when to bow out. And frankly, we've given her enough of our time in talking about her and her foolishness. But it is still a story because it's still an open investigation. And until police decides to close it altogether, then the news will continue to report on this story. And people will talk, post, and also make YouTube videos. It is what it is. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for watching the content. Like, share, subscribe to other platforms. Please check out my extensive library in the queue. I've been on the wire a couple of years, and I talk about various subject matters, breaking news, and true crime. My prayers are with those who have survived being kidnapped, those who were able to make it back home safely, and also prayers to the victims' families of those who did not make it home. Because those are the real victims. And that's what Carlee Russell needs to recognize. That somebody didn't make it home from a kidnapping. Anaya Blanchard didn't make it home. She was violently kidnapped, and people drove by seeing Mr. Yazid approaching her and grabbing her, and they never called 911. And possibly had they called, she would be alive today. That's what she should focus on. And I understand Miss Blanchard not wanting to, bring any negativity to her commentary to the foundation for her daughter. She's staying positive. Glad that the young lady is home. But as I said before, she was never missing. And this is also a lesson for Miss Angela and others. You might want to be very careful about trying to help those who say they are missing. Parents and friends who say somebody is missing, because you don't know who you're dealing with and who you're talking to. And this is not to say that people who come forward with missing people that they are fraudulent, but you don't know people. And the people may honestly be genuine, but the person they're reporting missing is not missing. They've left on their own accord. And you don't want to be standing with egg on your face. And as I've told you before, in a lot of the crimes that I have brought forward to this network, I've talked to family members behind closed doors. I did not get a good feeling about some of the people that I've talked to personally about their missing loved one. Their behavior to me was not conducive of people who want to get the word out about their family member. And I thought that was strange. I still find it strange. And one person comes to mind right now. This female has a missing son out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and she doesn't do a damn thing about her child missing. Although he is an adult, he's still a child. And she never goes to the newspaper or on the news to talk about her child. And I want to know why not. Because you don't seem too engaged in knowing the truth, or you just don't give a fuck. And it's ridiculous that your other relatives need to come forward and speak to the news and talk about the child missing, the grown man missing, but you rarely speak of your child. Everybody else is doing the talking instead of you. Why is that? That's a poor image to portray to the public. I will be talking to the news every chance I got. I will be talking to detectives every chance I got. Do you have anything about my child? I would have flyers posted up. I would be talking to the news as randomly as I could. I would go to other news agents and broadcasters to talk about my missing child. I would also ask for people to give money up for a reward. So maybe somebody would speak and tell the truth to the disappearance of my child. That's what you do when you care. So I want you all to understand that as well. That even the people who act like they care about the people missing, some of them don't. So you need to be leery of the person missing and the person that's the messenger. And that's a sad thing to say, but I speak from personal experience. Thank you for your time. Please go to my community board for said updates. I will put a poll up pertaining to this information of this live stream. Do you believe she's a pathological or compulsive liar? Do you believe that she and the boyfriend are still together? And what is he to gain from posting and unposting and telling people now, don't bully her? Is he getting glory and 5 minutes of fame? Some will question that he's getting a big following since talking about Carlee Russell. Because let me tell you something before I check out of here. If indeed they were having problems, this farce was conducted because of her problems with her boyfriend, him getting a new following of females particularly probably won't sit very well with Miss Carlee, if you see where I'm going. You think she's not looking at his Facebook posts, Instagram posts, all the females commenting, hey, you're nice looking, hey, you're cute, hey, you're this. Stay woke. She would be ashamed to have a repeat pertaining to Carlee Russell. And when I say repeat, I don't mean a toddler walking down the highway. Possibly something way more sinister, if you get my drift. Young man, you need to be very careful, because I think you're playing in the wrong playground. And you might find yourself in a real bad situation dealing with Miss Russell. You've been listening to the Loud XL.